Simplified Chaos, episode 133.
Life is beautiful and full of chaos.
And it can get slightly out of hand if that shit's not tamed.
We're here to share how to simplify the little things to help you lead a more intentional life.
This is Simplified Chaos.
Hey, wonderful friends. Welcome to Simplified Chaos. This is Jillian, one of your hosts, and I'm with my co-host and husband, Nicholas.
What's going on, folks? We hope you all are having a wonderful week. We've got another great episode here for you today. Jilly, what are we going to dive into?
Today is all about why we're following the fun and just having a lot of fun in life.
It has been a lot of fun, and that's why we continue to follow it. But before we dive into that, as always, we'd love to show a little gratitude. So, Jilly, what are you grateful for this week?
Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, Boulder, the Sunshine State.
We had a recent getaway, just Nick and I. Lucille was with my mom, and I'm also grateful for support and being able to be able to do that. But I don't know, going to Boulder, Colorado, not only was that area gorgeous, beautiful, the walkability, the mountains, the food, the drinks, the company, it was just such a great reminder how important playing with my significant other is, and playing for the sake of just, why not? It's fun. Let's do it. Let's be spontaneous. There's no responsibilities or agenda or, the act of like having to entertain a child all the time and be mindful of that. It was just nice to kind of let that parenting guard down and just be me with you and just dive into all the things, whatever we felt like doing at the time. It was a lot of fun.
It was nice not having to answer why 50 million times.
Why, Papa? That stage is quite magical, isn't it?
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, but what about you? What are you grateful for?
I mean, same thing. Like, it's hard not to be grateful for such an amazing weekend, for parents who, and not just your mom, but your dad and your sister and everybody who was involved in watching Lucille over the weekend to make it happen. But yeah, I mean, there was no plan going into the trip except that we were going to Boulder, and it's just awesome, like, ebbing and flowing with you on these trips because it brings out of a lot of different adventure and things that we wouldn't expect. So, yeah, hard not to be grateful for that trip.
Yeah, who would have thought we end up at a batting cage, hitting fast pitch baseballs, and then playing a round of putt-putt afterwards.
And this is what happens when you visit a cidery that's right across the street from a batting cage. And you're like, hey, I wonder if I can still hit a baseball. Let's go over there and check it out.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
It was awesome. All right. So, Jilly, we want to talk about following the fun here today.
I mean, we had a lot of deep connection and chats on our date nights when we were in Boulder. So it kind of led to this. And just the fact that where we are now is literally just from trying something fun. The podcast has literally been a catalyst for a domino
change.
effect. To so many amazing things. And it was all because we thought, hey, why not? It'll be fun. It was like a big experiment. Like, we've never done this before, but we enjoy listening to them. We think we have a voice.
Anybody can do this, right?
Yeah, and I think we have a voice in this field of just, I don't know, like our perspective on living more intentionally and just simplifying to just be happier, healthier, and just live more meaningful. And it's just crazy. I had to reflect on this and just think what the podcast has led to. And it's all because we were like, it sounds fun. Like, why not? So I thought it'd be fun just to dive deep into when we started, why, and then what it's led to. And I don't know how much we really appreciate just finding fun and just continuing to do that. And I think we're always told the message, work hard, success is a dollar sign, or success is how many followers you have. And to me, I'm just redefining success. And this podcast has led to that. Yeah. And it's been such a crazy, beautiful, chaotic journey.
Yeah. I mean, we'll kind of get to it, but like we would, it seems cliche to say it, but we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for this podcast, and that's like for real. We wouldn't be where we are today without this podcast. So we'll kind of like dive into that. And for those of you that are new or have not listened, since the beginning, Jill and I started this podcast in the December of 2018. Just Lucille was about what 6 months at that point. She was 6 months old. We had talked about doing a podcast. I think it was like in October, and then November. Like, we're really serious about this, and we're like, yeah, let's do it. So we ordered the equipment, did some research on everything, and really started out not knowing what the hell we were doing, but we knew that we had a lot to talk about, and we did it.
And now that you say that, I'm sorry if I interrupt
No.
you, but I'm just thinking, I think finding what is fun for you is very easy. I think following through with the fun is the hardest part, because you can have all these crazy ideas like, that would be cool, I would love to try that. But the follow through, like, that's the part that's the hardest part, is like literally pulling the trigger and investing in equipment and all this stuff, knowing that like we don't know what the outcome of this is going to be, and we're spending money on it. And I think if you find something that truly sounds exciting, it's like the worry, I guess, about the investment doesn't seem as high, because it's just sounds like this would be really enjoyable no matter what happens in the outcome. But yeah, no, it just popped in my head when you were saying like, just pulling the trigger and saying, we're really going to buy a professional microphone and headphones and all this stuff. Yeah.
And now it's just led to so many things. And at first it was like, let's just put out there like what we've learned about simple living and how it's impacted our lives. And it's really started out that way, and we continue to do that. But like we've found more ways to just kind of incorporate what our experiences are, and it's not just in like simplifying things, but it's just like things that we find that people might find beneficial. Some of the episodes might not even be about like simplifying something, but it could be just a revelation that we've had, which has been awesome. But like, as far as leading to fun, like Jill and I, for the first year, it was just her and I really just kind of talking back and forth, and the lessons that we've learned, and trying to share that with you. And in 2020, we were like, actually it was late 2019. We were like, let's start interviewing people. And so we had, oh man, their names are drawn. I'm drawing a blank, but we had them over our house.
Oh, Brian and Dunkel.
Yeah, Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had them over to our house. We did our first podcast interview with them, and then you and I were like, well, let's use this as a catalyst to travel and meet some people. So in January of 2020, before the worldwide pandemic, we had an opportunity to visit Michelle and Ben Knight out in St. Louis. And you had an awesome interview with Michelle. And we had plans to go out to Colorado last year. We had plans to potentially go to Oregon last year to interview some of the folks that that you've already interviewed. But that's not what was in the plans for us at all.
No, it definitely changed course. And just to preface this, like, we keep saying this, and we've said it in multiple episodes, we do not make money off of this podcast.
No.
We actually spend money to make this podcast. I think just the act of communicating with Nick is like therapy for us now, and I value that so much. And spreading the message and getting feedback from our listeners is just, to me, that is the income in a way, quote unquote, like getting feedback that, you've helped me so much, or, what you said to me like mattered, or, so just to preface, like, we decided to travel not because we're getting money from any sort. It was just because it sounded fun.
Well, and it was a value of ours. Like we made it a goal to travel to a new place like every month, whether that was, traveling via airplane or train or car ride. Like we were like, let's visit one new place a month. And part of that was like, well, we want to meet some interesting people who can also bring value to our audience. And instead of doing an interview over Skype or Zoom or whatever platform there is, we were like, let's go out and visit them. Let's pack our stuff up. We have this really vintage suitcase that we can pack the microphone and everything in. Let's travel and meet people and get to know them and, hang out and have a podcast interview. And so, we did that with Michelle and it was awesome. Like you had the interview with Michelle and I took Lucille and hung out with Ben and their kid, Cal. And, we had a blast hanging out at this coffee shop while the kids played, while you two had an interview. And then we got to hang out with them afterwards and, go to a brewery and get to know them a little bit better. And just, they're great people. We still keep in touch with them, to this day. Michelle was a business coach for you for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you never know. And that was fun. Like you were having fun, doing the recipes and the meal planning. And, she certainly guided you in the right direction and offered, a lot of great advice for you, for building your website and how to communicate with people.
Absolutely.
And how to put together your package, so to say. And it was just awesome. And that was definitely fun.
And the more I was reflecting about this, I'm realizing that fun is such an overused word. And I think fun is so much more complex and meaningful than I ever thought.
Yeah.
Fun is attached directly to our values. Like anything that's fun is directly tied to what we value in life. Like travel is fun, being around our family and friends, they are fun.
Yeah. Meeting like-minded people is fun.
And I feel like fun is so much diverse and complex than I originally thought. And I think it's so underrated. And so many people, I don't think, try to have fun because they don't think that it's going to lead to what they think is a successful or a happy life. And I'm here to tell you, it so does.
Hell yeah.
Once you decide what's fun, which to me I think is very simple, it's just cutting out the bullshit, the opinions, the distractions, and like going down and deep. Be like, what do you really enjoy doing? And just making space for that. Like, I think ultimately living intentional is finding what's fun for you and just getting all the other shit out of the way and then making space and time for it. And that's exactly what we've done. And it's something so simple, but it's such a in progress act. And our version of fun could always be changing. And it is changing in a way.
It is.
But it's the one thing that I think that has been a constant in our journey and has made it so easy to find our direction is that we keep going towards what's fun for us at that moment in time. And we make these little steps and we follow through with the fun, which to me is the hardest part.
It is.
Making a move to be closer to nature, which is something we thought would be fun, to hike more, to have, all of these beautiful things at our fingertips that weren't on our fingertips where we were previously living. That was fun is a risk as well. And I don't think people think fun is taking a chance, but like I said, I'm realizing now how complex, but how beautiful fun is. Like anything we've done has been a risk. Like the podcast, like we invested money. Could we lose the money? Could we have not enjoyed it?
I mean,
but I mean, we are getting investment in internally, not externally. And I'm realizing more and more how vital fun has been and has ultimately helped us save money. So it's funny, you think about all the investments we've made and what we've done to find more fun and to, bring it more into our lives. But ultimately, we've been saving a ton more money because we want to make more money. We want to save money to have more fun, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. Like part of this journey has led to us being more intentional with our finances. Yes,
definitely.
Finding a financial coach, like it doesn't sound that fun, but having our money grow is fun as hell because we're able to, do what we want to do and have, I wouldn't call it passive income, but it's growing way better in an investment with somebody helping us choose what investments are best instead of just letting it sit somewhere. And I'm
he's also an
right
awesome
now,
person too, and we love hanging out with him and his girlfriend. So that's another friendship was built. I mean, it was a business transaction at first, but it's a friendship that's built, and we hopefully will continue that relationship for a long time to come. But yeah, I mean, we kind of teased at the beginning of us talking about this subject and saying that if it wasn't for this podcast, we wouldn't be where we are today. So the whole Boulder thing and going to Colorado this past weekend, it's really kind
Came
of
full
came full
circle.
circle.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so we were supposed to go interview Liv last year in her hometown, and she lives just outside of Denver/Boulder, Colorado. And obviously the pandemic hit. We weren't really quite comfortable flying on an airplane, so we were supposed to go out there towards the end of July. We made the decision. I remember it was a couple of days before Independence Day that we were like, you know what, let's put this off. We can do a Skype interview, or we can maybe potentially do the interview a little bit later in the year. Let's still do a getaway. We were gonna go to Denver last year without Lucille, so we were like, well, let's do a getaway, you and I. Where can we drive to within a couple of hours and explore a new area? And I guess I don't know how Charlottesville got brought up, but we had both heard good things about the area, and we were like, let's go ahead and check it out.
We heard it from two friends.
Yeah.
You would like you would like Charlottesville.
Yeah.
So it was like in our ear, but never was like, oh, let's do this now.
Right.
It was just, yeah, floating in our brains like, let's try it out.
Yeah, so I mean, we came down here. We loved the place. We came down here again. You came down here for your sister's bachelorette party, and it was just crazy because now we've made this amazing move. We absolutely love the area that we're in. We're having fun down here, like exploring and kind of being tourist in our town, which is something that we talked about back when we were in Maryland, and being tourist in just the areas that we live in. But like, we found a place that aligns with our values. We are meeting new and exciting people who also value the same things that we value. And it's all because of this podcast. And the way that it came full circle is we got to go out to Boulder this past weekend. We drove to Granby, which was about 2 hours from where we were staying. And we got to meet Liv in person. And, we got to visit her coffee shop. She gave us, you had a latte and I had a cappuccino. They were both amazing. Mm-hmm. And then we had a chance to, really sit down and talk with her for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, which was great, which is the same kind of experience we had in St. Louis with Michelle and Ben.
Yeah.
But then we had an opportunity to do this, even though we didn't do a podcast interview while we were out there.
No.
We had a chance to just meet this wonderful human and hang out for a couple hours.
And that's what it's all about. I'm just so fascinated and curious. And she even asked me, she's like, what kind of guides you in picking like your guests or the people that you want to reach out to? And honestly, it's people that look like they're living a life that's fun and that's aligned to what they want. And I'm so fascinated and curious what their story was on how they made that happen. And that's why meeting Liv was so surreal, because I got to ask her in person, like, the last time I talked to her was about a year ago. And I'm like, she was just kind of like telling me the changes they made since then. Mm-hmm. And, they're thinking about branching out to do another coffee shop. And she, it was just so nice to get that in-person connection and just meet face to face. And it just kind of still like solidifies like what we're doing is just to keep going, because the opportunity to meet new people and this platform has given us that, like, hey, you want to meet up because, hey, I have a podcast. Like, it's this great olive branch to like connect me to, other people that I think are living their most intentional life. So it's really cool to hear other perspectives. And that's what I love sharing on this podcast. I think it's fun to hear other people who have all a variety of different kinds of, like, they live in different states. They have, different family connection maybe, or different jobs, or, the story that led up to their decisions. I'm just so fascinated by what leads them to where they are. And it's really cool, I guess, to be making our own story with that as well.
Yeah. So it's just really cool how, like, we now follow the fun, and, this podcast had a lot to do with that. And you all as friends, listeners, have made this possible. And we do it for you. We do it for this group of like-minded people, and we really appreciate each and every single one of you who, take the time, a half an hour out of your day to listen to us, once a week. And, Jill and I have no plans of stopping this podcast at all. We get a lot of value out of it. I would say just as much as our listeners do. So, we're having fun with it, and we're going to continue to follow the fun with this podcast and maybe get some new equipment so that we don't have to share the same microphone.
I know.
And this arm that is not cooperating.
Yeah, and here's just to piggyback on that. I think when it stops being fun, meaningful to us, that's the clear thing about like, all right, let's.
Yeah.
I think
we won't
we're also,
force this. That's for damn sure.
Definitely don't force it, and I think that's also important to know when to stop, instead of just forcing something that isn't bringing you meaning or purpose anymore. And it's not fun. Like, why do it if it's not fun and enjoyable? Because fun is aligned to your happiness.
Yeah, I mean, this is not work. This is fun.
Yeah,
even afterwards when we edit it, when we do the show notes, when we have to put it on the web page and all that stuff, like, it's fun. It's part of the process. It's fun to see this thing grow. I can't believe we're 133 episodes in at this point, and continuing to go. I mean, that's we're coming up on 3 years at the end of December here. So I mean, this has been awesome, and we just are going to continue to have fun and share our thoughts with y'all. Yeah,
and let me add one more thing. Something fun that I wanted to start doing, and I was kind of talking to Nick about this, is that I really enjoy writing, and I don't really enjoy writing blog posts about new recipes anymore. If anyone knows, I have a food blog, and I haven't been feeling the flow into creating any more recipes. I really want to write about what we're doing, and I want to make them short and palatable blog posts that have some type of like action that we have done with this, maybe a small snippet or a story, just so there's a written form if people aren't listening to the podcast or they don't have time. It's like they can kind of get this short synopsis on what we talked about, and just like these small little tiny action things that we've been doing to live happier and more intentional. So be on the lookout for that on simplifiedchaos.com.
That's right.
I'll be jumping
Good
into
plug.
that. Yeah, this will give me motivation and accountability to actually follow through with the fun.
Yeah.
But so yeah, be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited to put some written form out there. But
yeah. So Jill will be expanding a little bit more on, what we talk about on the podcast, and giving some perspectives there. So definitely check it out at simplifiedchaos.com. We don't plug the website enough.
Yeah,
or
we don't.
at all.
Yeah.
Because most people find us on your favorite podcast platform. But yeah, we do have a website.
Yeah, so
simplifiedchaos.com.
We'll start adding some intentional, purposeful stuff to that. So,
and something else that's kind of fun that's new with the podcast is that Facebook is now automatically adding podcasts to our page. So here's just another platform where you can listen to audio on there. And what I found out, which was interesting because it's published the last 3 or 4 episodes that we've done, is that it also translates or transcribes the audio, and so you can actually see what we're saying on the screen.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so check that out on Simplified Chaos on Facebook.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, a lot of shameless plugs here at the end. Jilly, do you have any resources for our lovely listeners?
Oh, I do. I found this really good resource. It was on Oprah.com, so it's good.
This is my wife, Oprah.
My name is Richie Cunningham, and this is my wife, Oprah. So the blog post was titled, "Do You Need More Fun in Your Life?" And it was written by Martha Beck. Martha Beck is brilliant. She has a lot of great books out there. So I just wanted to read a snippet from it that I thought really aligned to this topic. Okay. Why do some of us put off the most creative, fantastic, mood-enhancing thing in our lives? Martha Beck makes this case for having a real good time. I am dead serious about fun. As a life coach, I am determined to help all my clients have as much fun as they possibly can. I'm often surprised by how vehemently, did I say that right? I've never used that word before. Some of them reject this idea. They see fun as trivial, unworthy, disreputable. Maybe they'll have fun someday, they tell me, but not until they've made a huge fortune or a scientific breakthrough or an artistic masterpiece. What they don't realize is that people who achieve such things are the ones who have fun doing them. Having fun is not a diversion from a successful life. It is the pathway to it. And here's a really interesting thing that she wrote. There's faux fun, and they lead straight to misery. It isn't difficult to tell faux and real fun apart once you've learned to recognize the manic giddiness of the former and the nourishing pleasure of the latter. If you're not clear which is which, the following factors can help you spot a fake. Faux fun helps you ignore problems. Real fun helps you face them. Faux fun gets boring. Real fun never does. Mm-hmm. If you're having real fun, you'll never regret it.
Well, that's definitely true. I've never regretted having fun once.
And I think some of the examples she gave, and you can dive into this blog post, I encourage you to. She gives like really good examples, like real life examples, probably like, eating something really indulging that is going to make you miserable. And you're like, oh, I immediately regret that, like just real life scenarios. So I always appreciate that. It's just for the sake of time. And then the last one was real fun makes everyone feel better. Faux fun makes everyone feel worse.
You can't fake fun.
I think sometimes they can get diluted and mixed like, oh, I'm having fun, but it might just be for that moment. It's very pleasurable and then it fades quickly. Kind of like, I don't know, watching, if you're binging so much TV, you're like, at least me, I'm like, it was fun in the moment, but I should have stopped after 2 episodes because now I feel like a potato and I don't want to do anything. And, I don't know.
Like, it's like Garth hosting Wayne's World when Wayne walked out on the set and he's like, I'm having fun. Not.
I love your plugins from Wayne's World because you've seen it so many times.
Can I guess what the quote of the day is going to be?
Sure.
I have a good guess.
What?
Girls just want to have fun. Cyndi Lauper.
No.
Wow.
Wrong. I have 2 actually.
Well, now we have 3.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. Wisdom from Nick Koselniak.
No, Cyndi Lauper.
Via Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
The first quote. So we're doing quotes of the day.
Multiple.
Quotes of the night since we're recording at night. I'm having fun. I'm being myself. I'm doing what I love. That's all that matters. That's from James Charles.
All right. I like it.
This quote is from Amy Lee, and I had to look up who Amy Lee is. Do you know who Amy Lee is?
Amy Lee Curtis?
No. Cheesy.
It's Jamie Lee Curtis's sister?
No. It's the lead singer of Evanescence.
I knew that.
Did you?
Yes.
Then why didn't you say it?
Because I wanted to say something silly.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
She's got a good voice.
Anyway, I really like her quote. That's why I wanted to say this one too. If people are making fun of you, then you're probably doing something right.
Yeah, I do like that.
It's so true. Like usually when you're following the fun and doing something that really, I don't know, it's usually might be different than everyone's swimming one way and you're going against the grain, against the current. Yeah, it's usually like people make snarky remarks like, oh, how's that thing doing? Like, you're really doing that? It's just funny. Like some of the tones when they ask questions, I'm like, yeah. You
guys
still
are still
happening.
doing the podcast?
It's real cool.
Hell yeah. How about you come and listen to our next episode?
And it's usually not people that we're really close friends with. It might be just acquaintances or people that are just like, giving us a hard time or pulling our chain. But really, they're just wanting some fun in their life too.
That's right. We're going to give it to them.
Oh yeah. Stuff fun in their face.
Yeah. Take action challenge, Jilly.
Find fun and follow through with it.
That's right.
Do you have anything to add to that?
No, just hold on to it tight.
No, not too tight because you want to let it go if it's not fun anymore.
Well, that's true. But when you find it, hold on to it tight until it's not fun anymore.
Well said, babe.
All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you like this episode, please do us a favor and help us spread the message. You can do this by writing a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they call it these days. Or you can just simply share this episode with a friend. And remember, sharing sparks a conversation, conversation leads to action, and action is how we're able to live a happy and intentional as hell lifestyle. We want to thank you all for listening today, and we will see you again next week.
See y'all later.